Assalamu alaikum everyone. So I'm your teacher Asim. So once again I have come with a new lecture that is about how to be able to a good speaker and a listener, or how to motivate yourself. So as you know that this is a subject study skills. So let's move on to the first slide. Okay, so the caption of this slide is motivating yourself to learn. So when you read that, there is a lot of question that came to your mind, that how to motivate yourself to learn new things. There are so many factors that boost you, that motivate you to learn new things and new information. So there are 4 points in this slide, like assess academic strength and weaknesses. Obviously there are things that you know, there are the things that you don't know. So things that you know are your strengths, and things that you don't know are your weaknesses. So as a definition, there are things that you don't know doesn't mean that these are your weaknesses. A thing that you want to correct are your weaknesses. Next is discover and use your learning style. Okay, so obviously you have come from so many parts and different cities. So obviously you have learning style, you have taught different styles in your colleges and schools, and you have come to in a new environment. Obviously you have to discover your style and use it. That is the main thing. And next is develop critical thinking and study skills. Critical thinking, basically, what is critical thinking? Critical thinking is thinking against thoughts. And study skill, as we all know, that how to study and how to progress well in university classes. And next is adapt learning style to teaching method. Obviously when you were in college, you have been taught different style of things, and you have been taught by different teachers who have different styles. Obviously when you came here, and you have to adapt these styles that your teacher here are adapting. So this is a key thing in your study. So basically you have to motivate yourself and adapt that learning style which our teacher is adapting. Okay, next, what is next now? So this is a very important topic that we are going to study today. There are different ways of motivating yourself, as you know that. So many sources that can motivate you, but I have chosen 10 ways to motivate yourself for study. Obviously let's discuss that. This is the time of the year when papers are due before Christmas. Obviously I have taken this material from a university of UK. Obviously they have conduct exams before Christmas. That's why a bit different from our system. So that is why the word Christmas here. And for most of you this mean 2 or 3 deadlines in the next month. Obviously I have taught you earlier in the class that when you have projects to do, when you want to take extensions, ask for it and ask early. Don't call or message your teacher one night before the deadline and said, "Sir, I want to take extension." These sort of things, irritate your teacher. That won't help you in future and while you are in university. So take care of everything that you done here. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Let's see what is the first way to motivate yourself to study. Sometimes having to do all that studying and catching up with reading from previous weeks feels like a drag. So it can be overwhelming, because together with the studying can some a wave of questions where you doubt yourself on a personal level, with thoughts such as, these are the questions that come to your mind when you are facing these sort of things. So what sort of question that come to your mind? Like, do I even understand these readings? Or may I going to be able to write something interesting or relevant? Relevant, that something that relevant to your topic that has been given. Am I going to do the right thing? And the next common thing that comes to everyone's mind, that may I good enough to do this? Obviously, when you question your ability, these sort of questions come to your mind. Others seems to be more on top of these things than I am. What if I do better? These are the fears actually when you don't motivate yourself, when you question your ability, when you think that I don't be able to do these sort of things. So these sort of questions come to your mind frequently. Obviously they feel like a drag, and these thoughts are subtle but can lead to difficult feelings that interfere with motivation. So to generate that motivation, you could try some of the following. So these are some important points and topics that we are going through right now, and I am going to discuss the new things that will help you to learn new ideas and thoughts that will help you in passing your exams. So here are, let's see what this slide brings to us. Okay, first is acknowledge your resistance and difficult feelings with motivation. Whenever you feel bad and low, obviously you don't feel well that time, these kind of things obviously demotivate yourself. Obviously then there is a time you have to motivate yourself. You can motivate yourself to study, or your friend can motivate you. Obviously the first battle, obviously, that is against yourself. So then motivate yourself. When you find yourself in a difficult situation, don't feel low and don't feel demotivated. So always motivate yourself and question and ask yourself that I can do that. I can do that. Obviously, I'll do that. And next is, do not run away. So that is very question interesting thing. Do not run away. Avoiding work can make you feel deflated. This is emotionally more draining than having to go through the frustration of reading for your paper. So face the truth, face the reality, face the responsibility. Don't run away from the responsibilities of life. Here a term, one term come to in my mind of Aristotle, that escapist is something and someone who wants to run away from the realities of life. Don't be escapist. Face the responsibilities, face the trouble, face the difficulties. That's how you will be able to do things and result that you are desiring. And next is, do not blame yourself for procrastinating now and then. Well, it's a very interesting word, procrastinating. Man, while I was in teaching in the class, some of the students that, sir, what does it mean by procrastinating? Basically, this it means that delay. So this point Wesley teaches you that do not delay things, do things on time. Try to become aware of the habit and gently make yourself to go back to the task sooner rather than later. So this point tells us that do things on time, don't delay, and be punctual. Let's move on to the next one. Okay. Try to understand your studying style better. You know yourself better than anybody else. You know your style of studying. You know where you are comfortable, and what is the style where you are comfortable with. Always choose there this style and try to understand the things and style that you are adopting. what will make it easier for you to work. We are all prone to pleasant experiences. That means we all want comforts and player things. So it is natural that we tend to avoid uncomfortable, dry chorus and duties. So try to make your study experience as interesting as possible. And let's move on to the next point, number 5. Let's see what it tells us. Don't question your abilities. That is very important. Don't ask yourself, you don't do that, you can't do that, you won't be able to do these things that others are doing. Don't question your abilities. Always motivate yourself. That, as the first slide told us, that how we can motivate ourselves. So this is the point, that don't question your abilities. Don't put yourself down by comparing yourself to others. Just be yourself, be what you are good at, and do what you are good at. Don't question your abilities. Here is the next one. Visualize yourself starting. See how you things and how things are going, how things are on track, how you are starting yourself. So make yourself sit down and work, even if this is for just 20 minutes. So see starting as a parallel process, like a plane on a runway. You may start slow, but you will still take off. That is a very interesting and morale boosting concept that this number 6 is giving us, that doesn't matter you are running or walking, whatever pace you are keeping, but the key thing is to always move on, then eventually you will take off. And next point is number 7. Focus on the task and at hand. So that means do what is your priority. Don't do for other things. Don't go for other things that you are not necessary for you. So prioritize the most important task and avoid multitasking. And next is communicate to others any difficulties and or what you intended to do. This can help you engage with the process and identify the important task. Communication externalization can help you to commit with immediate goals, and you could also find out other points of view and tips. Whenever you find something difficult, whenever you feel that I'm struggling for something that is new to me, that is very difficult to me, and ask for help, ask questions. That is where you can be able and will be able to do things that is, you know, difficult for you. These sort of things can help you in future. Okay, let's move on to the next slide. Let's see what will it teach us. Number 9. Take a time limited approach in which you schedule your task. Do things according to the limited time approach. Ask yourself, how much can I achieve in the next 2 hours? That is a motivational and a motivated line. Obviously, don't ask instead of can I complete all tasks? In this way, you don't get as easily overwhelmed by the volume of study you need to do. So always take time limited approaches and boost and motivate yourself whenever you are going to do a difficult task. Next is number 10. Remember that studying can be challenging and take you out of your comfort zone. Obviously, nobody wants to study, but on the other hand, everybody wants to pass the exams. That is hilarious, I guess. So, teaching studying is always challenging and that takes you out of your comfort zone. Think about the hiking or mountain. Kilimanjaro, it is not easy and can even be uncomfortable, but the pleasure comes when you begin to see the view from height. Feel the fresh air when you reach the destination. You get a sense of achievement and satisfaction. Focus on the outcome and note the struggle to get there. So this slide obviously tells us and teaches us that do not look for journey, look for the outcome, look for the result. Obviously the one phrase that is very famous, that all is well if ends well. Nothing is well if end isn't good. So be yourself and you know cross that difficult journey, and let's see what it comes to you, and hopefully you will get a good result in that. So motivate yourself. Let's move on to the next one. That is another topic we are going to explain now. So I have done with the motivational words and how to motivate yourself to learn, and now let's move on to the next topic, that is about your weaknesses and strengths. Academic strengths and weaknesses, these are well explained in the next slides. Here we start that the academic strengths and academic weaknesses. Let's show the bring things that a student can do and can improve upon. Everyone has strengths and weaknesses, and some can be developed over time. So have you been asked your academic strengths and weaknesses? Obviously you have been asked various times what are your weaknesses and what are your strengths. So next is, what was your answer? It is good to identify your strengths and weaknesses so that you can know where to improve or even work on. Obviously there are some strengths socially, when you are kind and brave and well behaved, well mannered guy and person. Obviously these are your strengths, and obviously on the other hand there are some weaknesses as well. Nobody is perfect. There are weaknesses that we have to identify. If you are dull or you are straightforward, violent, these are your social weaknesses that you have to improve on. Next is a table of contents. These are the points we are going to study in the next slides. So here are what are the points. What are academic strengths? So first question that comes to mind, that what are the strengths? And obviously there is an other question comes to my mind, what are the weaknesses? At that I have already discussed and taught you in the class, and I have told you in my previous slides that what are the weaknesses and what are the strengths. And the next thing is academic strengths list. What can be your strengths academically? I'm not talking about social things. What are academic weaknesses? Number 4 are academic weaknesses list. Number 5, how can I identify my academic strengths and weaknesses? Number 6, how do I feel with my weaknesses list? Number 7, I make a routine to work on your weaknesses. That is a solution. Now we are going towards a solution that will study. I will teach you in next slide in detail. Next is number 8, and the second solution is get a mentor. Yes, who is someone who is very experienced. I have gone through all these scenario, and I faced failures and eventually have passed these things. So always a good idea to get a mentor. Next is be humble. Behave yourself with others, and good things that obviously come to your way when you are humble. And next, in conclusion on the academic strengths and weaknesses, these are the points that we are going to study in the next slides, and they are the contents that you have taken already. Here is the definition. What is academic strengths? Academic strengths are character traits that make you exceptional from others in a learning environment. The academic strengths are inbound in you and are shown when you are in competition, or when you have to show how good you are in a particular learning field. Obviously, this definition tells us that the things that are good things that you do and you have already naturally in you are your strengths. So let's see what are the weaknesses. Obviously, it will be on next slide. Academic strengths are character traits that makes you exceptional from the others in the learning environment. These are the line we have already studied in the previous slide. And next is the academic strengths are inbound in you and are shown when you are in competition or with have to show how good you are in a particular learning field. There are strengths and weaknesses in different fields. Your social strengths can be your academic strengths, or can be in somewhat, and somehow how things approaches you towards the conclusion. For instance, in class, and child's academic strength in maths can be being able to know the multiplication table, addition and subtraction. Going into square and square roots can be one of the academic weaknesses to the child, which in the long run can be improved. So the things that can be improved and you are willing to improve and willing to correct them, these are your weaknesses. On the other hand, in our daily life, the academic strengths of a child can be honesty, self respect, and talents that make the child exceptional and unique in his or her own way. Let's move on to the next one, which is very important. This is the list of academic strength. These slides, obviously the slide tell you where are the strengths and where the weaknesses are. Ability to learn from mistake, obviously this is a strength. Someone who has the courage to face the truth and these sort of things, obviously he will learn new things, and he has the ability to learn from his mistake. This has to do with the ability to accept mistakes when corrected. Okay, number two is discipline. That is very important in every field. I guess if it is your strength, it can be strength in every field of life. Other, the strength of being able to do the right things at the right time. Be discipline means to do things on time and do things before the due dates and these sort of things. When you are disciplined and do things on time before the deadlines, obviously you are well on track to be a successful person. Next is problem solving, ability to find a solution to problem even under pressure. Lot of person around me and lot of person around you, obviously you see them, they don't have ability to find solution of problems. They feel pressure. When they feel pressure, and you consider themselves inferior to others, so the strength of problem solving is very important. So develop that strength in you. If you don't have leadership skills, ability to lead people forward, make progress and replicate other leaders too, that is very important. Somebody who have leadership skills, you will take you the different people along with him or her. Obviously the group will be a successful one. Being kind and friendly, to be able to accommodate the differences in people. Always be kind and friendly. That is where the one way of behaving people, behaving with people very well and these sort of things obviously help you in future. Next is honesty. That is very important thing. Honesty, the ability to defend the truth even under pressure. Always be honest. That is my suggestion to you. Next is kindness. Obviously be kind to the people around you, and obviously be kind to the people you don't know and know them. Next is creativity. Create new things. Find for always in search of new truths and findings. Next is critical thinking. Obviously, thinking is thought. Try to find a new solution and information. Next is ability to listen, to give someone complete listening ear. In my point of view, as I have discussed in the class, that we cannot listen and think at the same time. So when you're listening, just completely listen to that person who's speaking. Obviously that is a one way of gaining and taking the informations. Ability to sit down and read, that is a biggest problem in our daily life. People don't sit down at one place and read. They want to do different things. They want to study while they are walking and talking and whatever. They want to do multitasking. This is a very important point, and that is difficult too. One is open mindedness, open to new experience in a role model. Don't stick to the old ideas, always look for the new things. Showcase yourself to the world that you have new things and new experiencing, new information, and share with others. Next is ability to follow instruction. Always follow these instructions that have given to you in your class, or university, or college, and home, and wherever you are. Next is planning skills. Plan your life and work on it. Right? That is a very important point. Next is number 15, creative thinking skills. Creative thinking skills is obviously when you read and when you watch new things, you are become creative, and skills in these sort of things help you. Next is number 16, dealing with criticism. This is how the child reacts when you being criticized by a peer or on something he or she is not good at. The academic strength in this context is being able to handle criticism and improve effectiveness. This is a very important slide. I suggest everybody that to note down all these points and work on it. Obviously these points will help you and guide you and motivate you to the things you are going to do in your next coming days. Next one is criticism and improve effectiveness, and number 17 is coding. Obviously we are living in an era where is world is a global village. It's an internet world, so coding is very important. The world has turned around with basically everything online. Thus if you can code software to solve a definite problem, it can be one of your academic strength that sets you aside from others. So this is very important. Next is number 18, language. Obviously, when you read well, you speak well. When you listen, when you speak well. Obviously, my teacher once told me that someone who has the vocabulary and words information can speak well. Okay, language is very important thing. The ability to speak fluently is one of the major academic strengths of an individual. If you build your language and communication skills properly, you will be valued and everyone will love to hear you speak. So always try to speak. Don't be quiet when question comes to your mind in the class. I experienced so many times that I question someone and will somebody stand up and just keep quiet and with heads down. Next is number 19, storytelling. It's an art actually. Nobody tells a story the way a good storyteller can. So storytelling skills can't be overemphasized. It's one of the major academic strengths that takes time and commitment to groom. With groom will take you places beyond your expectations. So develop your habit to become a good storyteller. That is where people will love to listen to you. And next is number 20, self discipline. This is the ability to do the right thing at the right time. If you have the self discipline, the study without procrastination, one of the major academic weaknesses, obviously, when you delay things, it is a major weakness. Then you will grow in your academic strength in school. Next is number 21, time management. Whoever is successful person in life, or you see the someone who is very successful, obviously he will be a good time manager. I have taught you two or three, I guess, topics, and everyone contains this point: time management. If you are a good manager, you do things on time. Obviously it is a helpful thing that able to achieve your targets. The ability to keep time and follow the time schedule will go a long way in building your reputation and be known as one that keeps time. Number 22, socialization. Obviously, get yourself socialize, interact with people, and obviously attend social gatherings that will help you be a social person. Next is number 23, collaboration. Do things with combined efforts. The ability to collaborate is one of the major academic strengths that gives you an edge over others at a workplace. Next is, what are academic weaknesses? Academic weaknesses are the downsides. Just like we are not perfect as human beings, we have weaknesses. Your academic weaknesses are some of the things you don't find difficult to do, which you love to correct or change. These are the list of your academic weaknesses that you have to work on. Follow this instruction. If you have these weaknesses, or you have few weaknesses in them, so try to correct them. First is procrastination, is something that is very new to the students, that do not delay things. That means delaying, so delaying will not help you in your life. Stubbornness, don't be stubborn, be polite and humble. Next is impatient, be a patient person. Things are obviously difficult in life, be a patient person. And next is indiscipline, be a disciplined person. When you are disciplined, well disciplined, obviously you have achieved so many things and goals you have set for your life. And next is aggressiveness, don't be aggressive with your teacher or your colleagues and with your friends and classmates. Dullness is another boring and weakness of so many people. Next is blunt, to speak in a direct or rude way. Don't be rude to your teacher and your friends as well. Next is academic strength and weaknesses. One, find out what naturally flows from you, what you have doing, that is your strength. And I know you have friends that are close to you. Yes, they know your academic strengths and academic weaknesses list. Get in contact with them and let them tell you more about it. If you don't know what are your weaknesses and strengths, ask your friends. Tell your friend what are your strengths and weaknesses. They will know better and will guide you. How do I deal with my weakness list? How we can overcome our weaknesses? I have weaknesses just like you. Everyone has a weakness, but you can work every day to improve yourself and work on your weakness. Here are the tips for you how we can and how do you deal your weakness. Next, make a routine to work on your weakness. Set a plan and work on your weaknesses. Find out your weaknesses and make out time to work on it. If your weakness is intolerance, learn now to tolerate people. Learn how to take things easy. Focus more on the good sides of things than the insecurities. This line is very important. Please read, write these lines. If you have the weaknesses of procrastination, read this book, Eat That Frog by Brian Tracy. It will really help you to reduce procrastination to the last. Next, read also 20 plus fun things to do in college when bored. Any weakness you have, look for a way to tackle it to the last. Everything has a solution, obviously. Everything has a solution. Get a mentor. That is a very famous and important thing that will help you to overcome your weaknesses. So, always get a mentor when you feel that you are weak in certain areas. A mentor is someone that has gone ahead of you, made mistakes, create the mistakes, and is still moving on. This is a famous quotation. I have put it in this slide of Isaac Newton. If you have seen further than others, it is by standing upon the shoulders of giants. That is very motivational thing. I suggest you to read this quote. Next is be humble. That is very important. Be willing to learn from others. Yeah, I know that humility alone is a strength on its own. So if you want to boost your academic strengths and reduce your weaknesses, let's make up your mind to be willing to learn. Always be humble. That will help you in achieving goals. Conclusion on the weaknesses and strengths. What is the conclusion? Your academic strengths or weaknesses can be what you know, what you don't know. Your teachable skills and your personal lifestyle. You can grow your weaknesses and strengths academic and you will do well. Thanks for your reading this post. Thank you very much everyone for listening to me. Hopefully this lecture will help you to develop new things in you, and that is very important regarding your exams as well. That is a very important topic. So thank you very much everyone.